will be recorded except where there are confidential or exempt items. If any member of the public attending the meeting objects to being filmed, please advise us immediately and we will ensure that they are not included in the filming. Members of the public and the press may record, film, photograph or broadcast this meeting when the public and press are not lawfully excluded. If you are intending to do so, please could you inform the committee clerk. May I please request that mobile phones are on silent or switched off and that your laptops are switched to silent. If you hear a fire alarm, please leave the building immediately via the fire exit and make your way to the assembly point at Ipswich Town Football Ground. So, just a few words from me. It has been a huge honour to serve our districts in the role of chair over the past year. Throughout this time, I've had the privilege of meeting so many incredible people, residents, volunteers, businesses and fellow councillors from different districts and boroughs and councils, all of whom make Mid-Suffolk the vibrant and resilient community that it is. During this term, it has to be said that our council has faced challenges. Some are recurrent and others are new. In council housing, for example, the shifting of goalposts in our house building targets, local government reform, to name a few. We've suffered the loss of our friend and colleague, Councillor Rachel Eburn, who will be warmly remembered by all who knew her. But we also have a huge amount of progress and change within our district that we need to celebrate. To name a very small number of things, the introduction of the Mid-Suffolk taxi bus scheme, the groundbreaking for the construction of the Skills and Innovation Centre, and the adoption of our Biodiversity Action Plan, and not to mention a huge number of projects across the district that are supported by our really invaluable communities grants. Looking back, I had a really difficult act to follow after Councillors Caston and Warboys as chair, who both chaired council meetings with incredible decorum and made dedicated efforts to raise money for their charities. This year it's been my great pleasure to support the Food Museum in their fantastic work with the community. They provide free cooking activities for school-aged children, integration and community building events, and also a community referral programme. Our fundraising events and activities have raised a total of £1,200 thanks to the generous support of our residents and fellow councillors. To the officers and staff of the council, your dedication behind the scenes often goes unseen, but never unappreciated. I would like to give a special thanks to Karen Sayer, who's been incredibly supportive in organising our attendance at civic events and ceremonies and given her time to organise and support the running of our fundraising activities. So looking forward, I'm delighted to be handing the chain of office to Councillor Scarf, who has served as Stowmarket Town Mayor 3 times and will do a tremendous job at keeping us all in order in the council over the next year. To my fellow councillors, thank you very much for your collaboration, commitment and the respectful debates that Mid-Suffolk District Council has become known for. Finally, thank you to our residents and community leaders that make Mid-Suffolk the great place that it is. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services, can I have a nomination, or a proposer for the Chair of the Council? Councillor Stringer.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to nominate Keith Scarf to be Chairman of Mid-Suffolk District Council for the forthcoming year. I thought I'd get a definition of politics, because we do a little bit of politics in here. Politics, it says, is broadly defined encompasses the activities associated with the making of decisions in groups, particularly in those involving the distribution of resources and power. It's essentially the process by which individuals and groups compete for influence and seek to shape collective choices. And in that competition, for influence, politics can sometimes be a way where people don't share things, where people will keep things close in groups because you might not want to give away any of that power that you've put so much effort in to try and gain that influence, etc., etc. So it's with great pleasure I nominate Keith Scarfe, who's not from the ruling group, to chair this council. I think it shows that we can be a really inclusive council, and that, to use a phrase I've used before, that we often quite like to share our toys. So but it's also shows that we can acknowledge and respect talent, whatever the person's politics are, and actually promote that talent. And in proposing Councillor Scarfe, I know full well he'll do a really good job in being a chairman of this council, be very impartial, and also be a real good beacon for portraying all that's good about what we do here at Mid Suffolk District Council. And I know that because I've seen him do it in the past. So it's with great pleasure I nominate Councillor Keith Scarfe to be chairman of the council.
Councillor Stringer. Can I have a seconder for the nomination? Councillor Mellon, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a few words from me. I first met Councillor Scarfe on the station platform at Stowmarket. We were both waiting for a train into Ipswich as newly elected councillors back in 2019. And although he'd just been elected, I soon learned that he'd actually been elected before that, and been on and off the council. But he was first elected actually back in the previous millennium, in 1999. But as I've got to know Keith, serving on scrutiny with him on this council and the county council, and then regular chats on the train, I've really come to appreciate his thoroughness, his fairness, and his experience. There's a couple of things I'm not sure about. I'm not sure how you fit it all in, Keith, to be honest. Being a triple hatter, all those different things you have to do, and these different people you represent. And I'm also not sure how you managed to find time to do any gardening, although I know that you enjoy that. But I do know that you are respected right across this chamber, so I'm very happy to second your nomination for chair of the council. Thank you.
No, thank you. So I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote to elect a new chair.
Thank you, Chair. Councillors, I can confirm that that vote is now in progress. Councillor Hicks, can I take your vote verbally, please? Just got it working. Fantastic.
No vote to start.
That is 27 votes for.
Thank you very much. I declare Councillor Keith Scarfe duly elected.
Keith Scarfe, having been elected to the office of Chair of the Council, hereby declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided by the Suffolk Local Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in that office. Right, I'd just like to say a few words, if I may. Can I first of all thank Councillor Pratt for all his hard work as Chair of the Council during the year. Dan has carried out his representative role as Chair at many events during the year across not only our district, but of course the County of Suffolk. I hope that he's enjoyed that, not only being part of that chair, but also keeping us as councillors in order at our council meetings. Not always an easy thing to do, maybe. Can I also thank Councillors Stringer and Mellon for those very kind words. Secondly, I would like to thank you all as councillors for voting me in as council chair for the municipal year. In particular, I would like to thank the administration for asking me to carry out the role, firstly as vice chair and now as chair of council. I consider that a great honour. As I said in my declaration of office, I will carry it out to the best of my abilities. So I look forward to representing you at the many events throughout the year and chairing full council. I will, as chair, be impartial, as you would expect, and this means that I will treat all councillors fairly and without favour, as we are all here to represent not only our own patch, but also the wider residents of Mid-Suffolk. To that end, I will expect the very highest standards of debate from all councillors. We are, after all, thanks to YouTube streaming, able to be viewed in perpetuity, and we should be very mindful of that. Therefore, I will intervene as chair if I believe that councillors overstep those high standards and enter interpersonal comments in the chamber. Turning now to my chosen charity for the year, I am very pleased to announce that this will be the Stowmarket Relief Trust, a charity very close to my heart. I have been a trustee of the trust for some years, and I have seen the work that it does in Stowmarket and the surrounding villages. Stowmarket Relief Trust is an amalgamation of many trusts that have gone before in various formats. Believe it or not, it started in 1523, when Margaret Gowell left her home and land, known as Chilton Hall, to the church. Other charities followed over the centuries, and rents from those properties initially provided an income which was used to feed, clothe and educate the poor. The trust then evolved into a charity keeping local people warm during harsh winters, and I'm sure they were harsher winters than we've had recently. Global warming has certainly had its effect. In the present day, we help with white goods, gas and electricity costs, beds and carpeting, and many others. And we have a sister charity, the Stowmarket Education Foundation, that provides help with books, stationery, school uniforms and equipment for higher education standards. We are a referral-only charity working with our partners, Mid-Suffolk Citizens Advice, the local food bank, Families Together Suffolk, Leading Lives, social workers, health visitors and tenant support officers from our very own council. The need is great and I believe ever increasing, so there was absolutely no doubt in making my choice in partnering them this year. I'm very pleased to announce that my consort will be my wife Sarah, who I'm sure many of you will met, and if you haven't, you will no doubt meet her during the year. Please feel free to approach her. She does have visual impairment, so she may not recognise your face, so just announce who you are when you actually see her, and she'll get the drift. So thank you. Those are my personal announcements. I would like to move now to item 2, which is election of Vice Chair of the Council. Can I request a nomination and a proposer for Vice Chair of the Council, please? Councillor Lay.
Thank you, Chair. May I start by congratulating you on becoming the new Chair of the Council. As a personal friend and someone I've looked up to for many years, I wish you well and look forward to supporting your chosen charity. Chair, I would like to propose Councillor Lorraine Baker for the position of Vice Chair of the Council. As a member of the Overview and Scrutiny, Audit and Standards and Licensing Committees, Councillor Baker has demonstrated a meticulous attention to detail and contributed significantly to shaping the outcomes that uphold the standards of this Council. For this reason, I am confident that Councillor Baker will complement you as our Chair, Councillor Scarf, and serve as an excellent Vice Chair. Can I seek a seconder for this proposal, please?
Thank you. That's actually very easy because I'm delighted to second Councillor Baker from the chair. So, Councillor Baker, can I ask you to... Oh, sorry, gone wrong already, look. So, can I now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote?
Thank you, Chair. Councillors, I can confirm that that is now live. Thank you, everyone. That will be 27 votes for. Thank you.
Baker is duly elected to the office of Vice Chair. I'd like to present her with a badge.
So, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair of the Council, hereby declare that I take that office upon myself and will dutifully and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided by the Suffolk Local Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in that office. Thank you, and I'd just like to say a few words. Thank you, Councillor Lay, for some really kind comments, and Keith Scarf. And thank you for the opportunity and the honour of being Vice Chair, and I look forward to representing Mid-Suffolk alongside Councillor Keith Scarf at various events.
Okay. So we now move to the main part of the agenda. Can I receive apologies for absence, please?
Of course, Chair. We have received apologies from Councillors Terry Lawrence, Anders Linda, Sarah Mansell, Ross Piper and John Whitehead.
Thank you. We now move to item 4, which is declaration of interest by councillors. Are there any declarations of interest? I see none. Thank you. We're now going to have an additional item, which is a statement by Councillor Patchett.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on the new position. So it has been brought to my attention that I do need to apologise to Councillor Hicks for my article in the newspaper that came out sort of earlier this year, in January. This was a breach of the Nolan Principles. Not all of the Nolan Principles, but some of the Nolan Principles. And, you know, he wasn't sort of treated fairly and with appropriate respect. I hope that he does understand that I have no personal grievances sort of with him sort of on a personal level. In the future, I look forward to some lively debates with him. I'm sure he does with me, that will be sort of reasonable, factual, fair, and with respect. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to item number 5, which is to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 10th of April 2025, paper MC 25.1, and I think there is a last-minute correction to those minutes. Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm referring to point 128.17 in relation to the comment that I had made. I'd like to correct it if possible, so I don't feel it accurately reflected the comments made on the day. I would like it to be corrected, if possible, to Councillor Baker suggested that officers should have been consulted in the process, as officers across all councils provide a wider perspective. Thank you.
Okay, we'll ensure that's corrected in the minutes. Can I have a proposer for the minutes, please? Councillor Matheson, and I think I saw Councillor Mellon as seconder. Thank you. Now going to call for a vote by a show of hands. All those in favour of the minutes? That is carried. Thank you. We now move to item 6, which is the Chairman's announcements, which is paper MC 25-2, which is for noting. Item 7 is the Leader's announcements. Can I invite Councillor Mellon to present an update, please?
Thank you, Chair, and can I congratulate you and our new Vice Chair on your installation to these important positions. And I look forward to your wise guidance of our discussions and debates over the forthcoming municipal year. It will be an interesting one, but I'm confident that you will see us safely through it. Can I also thank Councillor Dan Pratt, our outgoing Chair, for his chairing over the past year and representing the Council in a myriad of ways. Your choice of Chair's fundraising events was creative. I enjoyed the folk music night at the John Peel Centre and the walk from Eye to Thorndon and the excellent lunch that followed, with the rhubarb cider being a particular highlight. The Mid-Suffolk path, a section of which we walked, is a delight and should be better known and used. I'm also grateful to Councillor Pratt that, having stepped down from being Chair, he has agreed to serve the Council in a new capacity. Bearing in mind his professional skills in ecology, I am today appointing him lead member for nature recovery. This is an important area of work for the administration, and your appointment under Councillor Weller as the responsible cabinet member will bring a renewed focus. Colleagues, I'm grateful for this opportunity at what is usually the halfway point of a 4-year council term to take a quick look back at what has been achieved and also a glance forward to see what is coming over the horizon. But can I start by thanking all members for their involvement and participation in the work of the council. I think all of us are serving in some capacity, whether on cabinet, on planning, scrutiny or one of the other committees, or a working group, or representing the council on an outside body. It takes all of us to do that. So whether you're part of the administration group or not, as leader, I'm grateful for everyone's input. And can I also thank our officers for their hard work over the past year. With nearly 600 staff working for our 2 councils on a huge range of services, there's a lot going on, and a lot of it is unseen by members and unheralded. Whilst I hope that officers enjoy their work and take satisfaction from it, we know that some of it is difficult and occasionally even unpleasant. I was briefly in Stowmarket this morning with a team of staff volunteers clearing up a public area. This is an estate of mostly council homes, and it was great to see officers getting stuck in and making life better for residents in that area. And I think that's what our officers aim to do overall, make life better for residents. So can I ask our Chief Exec to take our thanks and pass them on to the whole staff team. We appreciate all that you do. Now, looking back over the past year or so, one of the significant events was the general election last July, where we ended up with a new government, and Mid-Suffolk ended up with 3 new MPs representing different parts of the district. I can report we've had good, regular meetings with all our MPs, and in fact Arthur and I have one of our regular meetings with Dr Prinsley next week. I won't go into the last year in detail, but just to mention a few highlights. On Gateway 14, we had the range coming fully into operation and rapidly expanding their staff team. We had the Bowder building erected and now being fitted out. Asan Panels have broken ground on their plot, and construction is well underway on the Council's Skills and Innovation Centre. And we've also been able to take some of the proceeds from Gateway 14 and reinvest it into the district, initially in Stowmarket through the Gateway Fund, but now also in other parts of the district. Nearly £2 million of community infrastructure levy has been allocated to 23 projects across the district over the past year, as well as large amounts of community seal going out to our town and parish councils. Now, a question you often hear is people saying, we see all these new homes, but what about the services to support them? Well, SIL is part of the answer to that question. It can't do everything, but it does make a difference. And so I encourage parish councils, some of whom are sitting on large amounts of SIL, to put it to work so that new community facilities are provided. The housing numbers dropped on us by the new Labour government late last year were a shock and have meant we've rapidly had to rethink where we were going with our joint local plan. We were fortunate enough to receive a visit and advice from a planning inspector in December. That was very useful in charting a way forward, and as a result we agreed to restart the local plan process, albeit from a good place with a solid land supply situation. Those new numbers will be a challenge for some communities, and we encourage parishes to look at developing neighbourhood plans that can help formalise the community's aspirations and guide development. At the same time, we continue to lobby government to look at HRA funding so that we can be empowered to build more council homes. Whilst we did provide 72 new affordable homes during this past year, our finances and the rules around them mean we can't afford to build any more council homes unless the government opens the way. Looking back over this past year, I do have to mention again the recent sad loss of our colleague, Councillor Rachel Eburn. At the celebration of her life event last month, and I know many of you attended that, there was something like 400 people in attendance, which was a fitting tribute to an incredible woman. Her influence will be felt for a long time, and in particular, I think of the negotiations where she managed to secure agreement to fund most of the Skills Innovation Centre costs. This will be a creative and dynamic centre for business and training, and that will be an appropriate part of her legacy. I'm sure we'll all send our best wishes to Councillor Terry Lawrence, who's been unwell for some time but is recovering. I did happen to bump into him last weekend, and he reported he's making good progress and hopes to be back in action soon. And we look forward to welcoming him back to this chamber in due course. Turning to the future, we are undoubtedly living in uncertain times. Globally, there's a lot going on, and whilst we have no control over those events, they do affect us and our residents. And one element of that uncertainty more locally is the new government's plans to reorganise local government. These were flagged up in the autumn and then given form and shape in the white paper published just before Christmas. So the schedule the government has set out is challenging, to say the least. Our interim plan was submitted, and we have had a feedback letter from the government, which was sent to all councils in Suffolk and has been shared with members. So we're now in the second part of the process, developing a full proposal to be submitted in September. Now, I realise that we don't all in this chamber share the same vision for the future shape of local government in Suffolk, and that's fine. We have set out our initial plans as districts and the borough, and it's now time to get the input from our residents and communities. Members will have received an email earlier this afternoon with information about a county-wide survey launched by the 5 districts and borough. This is now live and will be open until July. So can I encourage you all to take part in the survey and also to publicise this as widely as possible. We want people to have a say on what is important to them, what they feel strongly about, so we can shape the future of Suffolk together. Now, after those plans have been finalised and submitted, we will be in some kind of limbo for a few months more while we wait for the government to decide. And I realise this is uncomfortable for members, uncomfortable for officers, and uncomfortable for the whole organisation. But we will have to hold that uncertainty while still carrying on with our work, still providing our services, still trying to make life better for our residents. But I'm confident that, despite that uncertainty, we will still deliver in the year ahead. So thank you for your patience with a long speech, but those are my announcements, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Are there any points of clarification by councillors? There are none. Okay, we now move then to item 8, which is the designation of committees and joint committees. And those are the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, the Planning Committee, Licensing and Regulatory Committee, Joint Audit and Standards Committee, and the Joint Appointments Committee. Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Wick.
Yeah, I'd like to propose the designation of the committees and joint committees as laid out in the agenda.
Thank you. And a seconder? Harry, you're the seconder. Okay, so I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, councillors. I can confirm that that vote is now in progress. Thank you, councillors, and thank you for your patience. I can confirm that is 27 votes for.
It is carried. We move to item 9 on the agenda, which is the political balance and composition of committees. And I'd like to invite the Monitoring Officer, Tom Barker, to introduce paper MC/25/3.
Thank you, Chair. I'll keep this brief. This report details the size and numerical allocation of seats on your committees and the members and named substitutes for those committees, and I refer you to appendices A and B in your papers for the detail. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Could I have a proposer, please? Councillor Mellon, and a seconder? Councillor Walters. I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. Councillors, I confirm that that vote is now in progress. Thank you, councillors. That's 27 votes for.
Thank you. That is carried. So we now move to agenda item 10, which is the election of chairs and vice chairs of committees. And that is to elect a chair and vice chair for the following committees: Overview and Scrutiny Committee, Planning Committee, Licensing and Regulatory Committee, and to elect a co-chair for the following joint committees: Joint Audit and Standards Committee and Joint Appointments Committee. So we begin with Chair of Overview and Scrutiny. Can I invite a nomination, please? Councillor Haddingham.
I'd like to propose Councillor James Caston. James has been doing the job for 10 years. He hasn't been doing the job, he's been on part of the committee for 10 years. He's no nonsense, fair, sensible, wise and caring. I can't think of a better person to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to second Councillor Caston from the chair. Can I request any other nominations? There are none. Therefore, we will move to the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. Councillor Carter, can I take your vote verbally? Thank you, councillors. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried. Councillor Caston is duly appointed Chair of Overview and Scrutiny Committee. We now move to the Vice Chair of Overview and Scrutiny. Can I invite a nomination, please? Councillor Caston.
I'm very happy to propose Chair, Councillor Keith Scarf, as Vice Chair of Overview and Scrutiny Committee. He is a fantastic Chair. I don't know what I'd do without him on there. He's got a very good head for scrutiny, and I hope to us to be together again for the next municipal year.
Thank you. And a seconder. Councillor Richardson.
Very happy to second yourself, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Bit embarrassing being nominated for a post when you're sitting in the chair, isn't it? But there we go. No other nominations? Well, then I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried then, and therefore I am duly appointed as Vice Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Thank you. Chair of Planning Committee. Can I invite a nomination, please? Councillor Stringer.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Councillor Scarf and Councillor Baker on your new roles. Brilliant. I'd like to nominate Councillor Sarah Mansell to be Chair of our Planning Committee.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder, please? I think I saw Councillor Haddingham first.
Thanks, I'd like to second that.
Thank you very much. Are there any other nominations? No. Okay, I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. Of course you can. That's 27 votes for.
That is therefore carried. Councillor Mansell is duly appointed Chair of the Planning Committee. We now move to Vice Chair of the Planning Committee. Can I invite a nomination, please? I think I saw Councillor Mellon first and then Councillor Caston, if you'd like to second.
Yeah, can I propose Councillor Lavinia Haddingham for Vice Chair, please?
Thank you. Councillor Caston.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to second Councillor Lavinia Haddingham. We joined the council together in 2015. I think she's been on planning most of that time, apart from a stint in a cabinet role. She very much enjoys the position, and I think I'd like to see her do another year in that position.
Thank you. Can I request, are there any other nominations? No. Therefore, I'll ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now live. Would you like to register your vote for? Okay. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried. Councillor Haddingham is duly appointed Vice Chair of the Planning Committee. Chair of Licensing and Regulatory Committee. Can I invite a nomination, please? Yes, sorry, Councillor Ovett.
I'd like to propose Councillor
Lee Walters, please.
Thank you. And have I got a seconder? Councillor Carter. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No? Okay. I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. That is 27 votes for.
That is carried. Councillor Walters is duly elected Chair of the Licensing and Regulatory Committee. We now move to the position of Vice Chair of the same committee. Can I invite a nomination, please? Need a nomination? Councillor Over.
I'd like to propose Councillor Wilshire, please.
Thank you. And have I got a seconder? Councillor Walters. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Okay, I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. Noted. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried. Councillor Wilshire is duly elected Vice Chair of the Licensing and Regulatory Committee. We now move to co-chairs. And firstly, the co-chair of the Joint Audit and Standards Committee. Can I invite a nomination? Councillor Baker.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Councillor John Matheson as co-chair of Joint Audit and Standards Committee. He has many years' experience and manages a really complex and challenging committee at times, which is a joint with obviously Labour.
Thank you. And have I got a seconder? Councillor Rowe.
I'd like to second.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? There are not. Therefore, I now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. That is 27 votes for.
That is carried. Councillor Matheson is duly elected co-chair of the Joint Audit and Standards Committee. We now move to the co-chair of the Joint Appointments Committee. May I have a nomination, please? Councillor Winch.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Mallon.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Haddingham. Thank you.
I'd like to second that.
Are there any other nominations? No? Okay. We'll now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. Councillor Marriott, can I take your vote verbally? That's 27 votes for. Thank you.
Thank you. That is carried. Therefore, Councillor Mellon is duly elected co-chair of the Joint Appointments Committee. Right, we now move to agenda item 11, which is the appointments to outside bodies for the year 2025-2026. I'm going to refer members to Appendix A in the table papers, and I'm going to invite the leader to introduce paper MC 25-5 and move the report's recommendation.
appointment on outside bodies is important because it gives the council influence in a number of different fora, and also is an opportunity for information to come back into the council from our representatives on these outside bodies. So I'm very happy to propose the names as on the table papers. I think I spoke to just about everyone who's on that list, so hopefully you're all happy with your positions, and look for a seconder. Thank you.
Councillor, yep. Thank you very much. I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is in progress. That's 27 votes for.
That is therefore carried. We move now to item number 12, which is the appointment of councillors to the Shared Revenue Partnership Joint Committee. I refer members to the tabled papers and a request a proposer. Councillor Mellon.
Thank you, Chair. So I'd like to propose those 4 names which are listed as our representatives, 2 representatives and the 2 subs on the Shared Revenues Partnership.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Baker.
I second the proposal.
Thank you. I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electric vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is in progress. Councillor Matheson, can I take your vote verbally? Okay. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried. Agenda item 13 is appointments to the Joint Standards Board, and again I refer members to the tabled papers. Can I request a proposer, please? Councillor Mellon.
Yeah, I'm happy to propose that we accept the names which are tabled to be on the Joint Standards Board. Thank you.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Matheson.
In case anybody can't find the papers, I'm seconding the appointment to standards of what was this here? Sorry, I was trying to say Councillor Elkin, Councillor Hanningham, and Councillor Marriott.
Thank you. Okay. I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
That vote is now in progress. Thank you, Chair. Noted. Councillor Matheson, can I take your vote verbally? That's 27 votes for.
Thank you. That is carried. We now move to appointments to the Joint Gypsy and Traveller Steering Group and refer members to the tabled nominations. Can I request a proposer, please? Councillor Lay.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to propose the names as listed in the table papers.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Carter. Thank you. I'll now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried. And now agenda item 15, which is appointments to the council working groups, and there again as per the tabled papers. I request a proposer, please. Councillor Mellon.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd like to propose the list of names as tabled, with one addition. There is a vacancy on the Community Governance Review Working Group, which Councillor Rowe has agreed to fill. So with that amendment, I'd like to propose that we accept the names there.
And may I have a second, please? Councillor Elkin.
Happy to second, Chair.
Thank you. I'll now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now live. Cool. That's 27 votes for.
Thank you. That is carried. Agenda item 16 is the appointment of the Armed Forces Champion, and again I refer members to the tabled papers. Can I request a proposer, please? Councillor Mellon and...
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Councillor James Patchett as our Armed Forces Champion and to say a few words as to why, if that's permitted.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a really important position for our council. Someone as the point person for our residents who are either serving in our forces, our veterans or families of those. And I can think of nobody better to do this role than someone who has first-hand experience of military life. So Councillor Patchett took on this role as a new councillor, has been doing a good job. Only a couple of weeks ago, he and Councillor Davis from Baber Council re-signed and reaffirmed the Armed Forces Covenant. So I'm happy to propose Councillor Patchett as our Armed Forces Champion, Chair.
Seconder. Councillor Winch.
Yep, very happy to second.
Thank you. I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried. Thank you. And then finally, the appointment of the Mental Health Champions. I refer members to the tabled papers and request a proposer. Councillor Matheson.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, I think we would like to just propose Councillor Roland Warboys for this role. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And may I have a seconder? Councillor Carter. Thank you. I will now ask the Head of Democratic Services to conduct the electronic vote.
Thank you, Chair. That vote is now in progress. That's 27 votes for.
That is carried. Thank you. We now move to item 18, which is questions by the public. Do we have any questions?
None received, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item 19 is questions by councillors. Do we have any?
Again, none received, Chair.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank councillors for their forbearance and their fingers on the button for voting. I think actually it'd be a little bit easier if we sometimes had a hands up like we used to. The electronic vote does rather elongate the meeting, but we have had, of course, a lot of votes. Can I remind councillors that the next meeting is scheduled for Thursday the 26th of June at 5:30 p.m. and I declare the meeting closed. 5:26.